Hello everybody, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 3 of my Oracle deck collection. I'm noticing it's taking me a lot longer to get through these because I feel like I'm saying a lot. So I don't know if this one will be in 4 parts or 5 parts. I guess we will see, but I'm gonna get right into it. So the first deck I'm going to show you today is the Enchanted Map Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. This is one of the first sort of, I guess, stereotypical Oracle decks I picked up. It's a Hay House publication. I was really attracted to the imagery in this deck, and it was my first Colette Baron-Reid deck. And really, at the time I picked this up, most of the Oracle decks I'd been exposed to were like kind of Doreen, Virtue, Angel-y, and this one took things in a slightly new direction, and I really appreciated that. This is what the backings look like, and they are reversible if that sort of thing matters to you. These are the fronts. I am tempted now that I've had this deck for a bit to trim it. I think it would look really beautiful borderless, but I like that the borders are kind of parchment paper looking. Now this is a companion deck to a book called The Map, which I've never read, but I think that this deck does well as a standalone, and the guidebook actually is really quite meaty at 156 pages or so before you, or 153 before you get to the About the Author section. And each page or each card has a small black and white image, the main keyword, which is also on the card, a little quick punchy message, and then an upright and a reversed message, which I actually appreciate, and I believe I actually typically, I do use reversals with this one, and I've usually only used this one for myself, at least to date. I do find it's really good for personal growth work. I would reach for this for a client for spiritual growth, and may have, actually, now that I think about it, once or twice. I do find sometimes the keywords are just a little bit like specific, like Ghostlands. Once you know what the guidebook has to say about it, makes good sense. But if you don't know what they're getting at, sometimes it can be tricky. But most of these, I think, are pretty self-explanatory, which I prefer in keywords. When I have the kind of keywords that I feel like I have to really read the book to know, I struggle a bit more. I love that it has a rock bottom card and that there are pathways out from both upright or reverse, like it's the same card, however it comes up. Yeah, and I really, really like the artwork. I don't know who the artist is, actually. Is this Jenna de la Grataglia? I don't know if it says. Better say. That's one thing I mean, everybody says the same thing, but deck publishers need to do a better job of making sure that the artwork is credited on the outside of the box. I have no idea who the artist is. Is it in the back? Aha, Jenna de la Grataglia. So this might have actually been one of their first collaborations, and Colette and Jenna have done now a lot of decks together, or several anyways. So yeah, I really do enjoy this, and I did edge this in unmatching color, sort of this like parchment paper color. So I like the way that turned out. But yeah, I'm kind of tempted now to trim it, but maybe not with that part. I don't know. I'm on the fence, so I probably won't for a long time, if at all. But yeah, really like that one. Again, really good for like personal shadow work or personal deep dive kind of work. Next up, a very favorite, one of my very favorite oracles, the Whispers of Lord Ganesha Oracle. Now, I actually had some interesting information from a subscriber recently who said that typically, unless it's in songs and stuff like that, that in local vernacular, it's just Ganesh, Lord Ganesh, rather than Ganesha. But this deck is so beautiful. I've kind of bent the corner of my book a little because it does live in the bag. I will say, deck creators, could we do a better job of giving us deck-sized books? Because I love to keep my books with my decks wherever possible. So unless it's super oversized, if it fits in a Peggy bag, it goes in there with the deck. And then it gets those little bends to it, which is whatever. I mean, I can live with it, but these are the backings. This is really glossy, but the artwork is so vivid and it's really borderless. Also, there are chakra cards. So this is Empowerment is the root chakra card. You can see the chakra symbol there and the color red, of course. This imagery is absolutely stunning. I totally just bumped the camera. You guys have heard me rave about this before. It's absolutely stunning and very, very expansive keywords. I find that this deck works great in just about any circumstance. It's perfect for spiritual growth readings. I think it performs really well in that context, and I love doing spiritual growth readings with oracle decks. So this is one of my favorites to reach for now for that purpose. This one is also really fantastic with my chakra self-care spread that I offer in my shop. So yeah, this is just, it's so beautiful. You guys have heard me rave about this before, but I recommend this deck highly to anybody. You don't have to be familiar with Ganesh to use this deck. It's really beautifully and artistically done. You can clearly see the meaning of the card in every single image. This artwork was definitely created for this deck and not the other way around. And the pages in the book, it's an Angela Hartfield guidebook, and you get a good amount of information without it being so much that it's a pain in the butt to read when you're pulling daily cards. You get a black and white image, the keyword, a punchy little message, and then a larger description. It's just a really beautiful deck to work with. It is Blue Angel, and the guidebook is, I want to say like 90? Yeah, 90 pages. Well, those are the advertisements, so I guess 85 pages. Really, really, really love this one, and I'm excited every time I reach for it. So, up next, we have the I think it's called Wisdom of Avalon. I should know this by heart. It is the Avalonian Oracle. That might be what it's called, actually, the Avalonian Oracle. Now, I have this for a very specific purpose. Now, this was authored by Gina Talendrew, and the artist is Emily Brunner. And I actually spent quite a few years in the Sisterhood of Avalon, which is a spiritual path and sisterhood of women who are working on reclaiming, renewing, and remembering tradition. And there's a lot of my experience in that group and on that path in these cards. So it's really important to me for that purpose. The healing cycle, which that tradition is based upon, is fully represented in these cards. And the artwork is artwork. I love Emily's artwork. I think it's really beautiful and soft and nurturing. There are goddesses in here. There are stages of healing cycle. There are herbs and moons. But I will tell you that this is not a deck I typically recommend to just pick up and work with. I think that if you want to work with these energies, it's useful not only to work with the guidebook that accompanies this deck, but also to pick up a copy of Avalon Within by Gina Talendrew and read that through, because much of these will have so much more meaning once you've worked through that book. If you have spent time in the Sisterhood of Avalon or are considering working in within the Sisterhood of Avalon, then I would definitely recommend spending some time getting to know some of these symbols and some of the sacred landscape that is represented in these cards. And yeah, it could be a really wonderful introduction to that particular path. So yeah, this is really important to me for that reason. I don't reach for it very often, but when I really want to lean into what I've learned through my time with them, or lean into some of those sacred symbols, goddesses, or sacred landscape, this is the deck that I reach for. I did edge this in a blue, and those are the backings. This is the symbol from the Chalice Wellhead in Glastonbury. There's a lot of Welsh mythology here, and also Glastonbury landscape in here. So really beautiful, but again, definitely not a just pick right up off the shelf and read kind of deck. Next up, oh boy. This is the Inquiry cards, and I don't know who the artist is, but you can read about these on inquirycards.com. The cardstock of this deck is not fantastic. I kind of love the fun 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagon shape. I really love the fun shape. These are just like kaleidoscope style images with a question. Now, I really, really love these for just randomly drawing a question to pull cards on. So using this as sort of the foundation of a spread. I have played with these for a full week, and you can find that review if you search it on my channel. And also, sometimes it's fun just to pull a few and create a spread and then read for those positions. So what am I feeling? What is true for me? And what do I really want? That could be just a really beautiful 3-card spread right there. So it's really fun for that purpose. It's also fun just to have pull a random journal prompt. The artwork is not my favorite. I feel like it's a little bit busy, and then you have the font isn't quite as easy to read on some of the cards or find. I don't really play with directions, so they do get turned around as I work with them, but I just turn them right side up again. But yeah, I think it's really, really fun. I did consider, after working with this for a week, I considered purchasing the expansion pack for this deck, but I realized this is plenty of questions, and I don't use it often enough to really need more. But there is an expansion deck that you can get that will make this a thicker deck. I think it's about half again as many cards in the expansion. I can't remember. And I also can't remember the exact number of cards in here, but it's decent. Cardstock is really thin and actually has little bumps where it feels like it was separated, like it was on a big sheet and then punched out kind of thing, which is kind of annoying. So it's crummy cardstock. Yeah, you can even see where the dots are, where it was punched out. So not a fan of the cardstock at all. And I think I do want to edge the edges in this like really bright light blue eventually. But yeah, for what I like it for, it's great. Where are we at? 10 minutes. Oh, I can do a few more. Okay, good. Maybe we will only be in 4 parts. So this is my Angels and Ancestors Oracle by Kyle Gray with artwork by Lily Moses. Look, it's right on the front of the box. See? Hey, house, you can do it. Anyway, so this is really, really beautiful. I actually really love that inside the box, which is a nice sturdy 2-parter, you have what feels to me to be very much an invocation and like a closing sort of message or affirmation or prayer. I think that's really beautiful, and I definitely like when I'm using these cards, setting these up like on my table, kind of like that on either side so that I can see the messages and like focus on them when I'm shuffling and stuff. The guidebook is really, really good. You get a small black and white image, the keyword, or the title rather of the card, and the same subtext that is on the card. Then you have a message, a little bit more, and an extended message. So you can kind of read any layer of detail for each card that you would like. And the book also has some spreads in it, which can be really fun to play with. A past life spread, Celtic compass. I really, really love this particular deck. I did edge mine in a gold using a gold paint marker that has worn to almost a nice matte gold now, which I really, really love. I've definitely missed a couple spots, and I do think that using the paint pen, you only get to edge like 1, maybe 2 decks per pen. So it's a little bit, you don't get a lot of uses out of a paint pen, but it did do a really nice job on this deck, and I don't regret gilding this one at home at all because I think it's really beautiful. These are the backs, and you can see my gold did wrap around a little. The fronts are stunning. You get really wonderful archetypes from a variety of traditions, and I feel like it goes together very well. It feels very earthy and earth-based. You have some power symbols. You have just really classic, like I said, archetypes. You also have angelic-like figures, but they don't feel like that really fluffy, all in white. I don't know, it feels more accessible to me and more multi-faith to me. I just really enjoy working with this. I found the messages to be really loving and also supportive of not just telling you what you want to hear, but more supportive for personal growth. Really, really, really enjoy this deck. I love that it's borderless. It is matte. And I feel like every card is in here for a very specific purpose, and that comes through when you're working with the deck. So I haven't ever had a card come up that I'm like, huh, I don't get it. And I also love that there's a title and a message, so I don't have to rely on the guidebook at all. And in fact, I typically don't. So yeah, I really enjoy this. Just a reminder, you're going to be hearing Peggy sewing in the background because she's making pretty things. We don't want to interrupt. Let her do her work.
I'm almost done.
She's doing good. So I love this one. And I think that the colored feather bag is perfect for it because there's little angels in there with colored feathers. Okay, next up, we have my Witchlings deck and book set. So this isn't really, I don't read this like an oracle. I should have put it in the part of my video where I showed some of my more different stuff, but this is really cute. This is by Paulina Cassidy. And I use it specifically for spell work or as altar cards to pull in certain types of energy. So each one of these figures is for a particular energy. So confidence, and then it says there's a message down below. So self-confidence opens you to the energy required to carry you through each and every day at your very best. But the themes in here are perfect for spell work. So transformation, aura, serenity, strength, wish, wellness, beauty. Just pull some random ones. Prosperity, I've used that one a few times. Prosperity and abundance. So these can be used in conjunction or separately, depending on what you want to pull in. Communication, love, imagination, determination, euphoria, rejuvenation, wisdom. So these are really, really sweet. I love the little borders. These are the backs. They're really beautiful. They're not reversible, but I wouldn't use this that way anyway. I don't know how many cards. Does it say? 40 cards. And then the guidebook isn't really a guidebook so much. It says it's a book of spells. And it's really quite good. So for each card, you get a little bit about that particular witchling that you would have seen the card for, and a few little very basic, simple spells you could do to bring in that particular type of energy. So like, for example, in Determination, you actually get 1, 2, 3, 4 little spells. And they all have really basic, simple, easy to acquire ingredients. So for this one, you just need a yellow or orange candle. For this one, a clear quartz crystal. For this one, some cotton, sage, rosemary, needle and thread, markers, or paint. That's one of the most involved spells you'll see in here. Yeah, they're very accessible. If you wanted to play with some basic spell work, this is actually kind of a cool one because everything's very accessible and simple and current and modern. You won't find obscure ingredients at all in here. Most of the stuff you would require, you would already have in your home or kitchen, sometimes a specific gemstone, but because there's multiple spells for each card, you can kind of pick the one that feels like the one you want to do, based on what you might have kicking around. And so I love how accessible this one is. And yeah, I really like working with it. So whenever I'm doing spell work, I will often look to see if there's a corresponding card in here to just keep out to hold that intention and have it on display. So I love it for that. So I'm at 16 minutes. Let's do one more and then I will call this particular part done. And then we'll have to do the new one. So the last one I'll be showing you is the Work Your Light Oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell with artwork by Danielle Noel. This is really a beautiful, I totally bumped the camera. This is a really beautiful oracle deck. The guidebook is good. Rebecca Campbell. You get a small black and white image, the keyword from the card, and the subtext from the card, and then a write-up and an action step, or a journal prompt or something along those lines. So a call to action for sure. So I really, really love this. It's really well written. If you like Rebecca Campbell's writing, you will really, really enjoy working with that guidebook. I love that the back of the box or the inside says you are the oracle. The backs of these cards and the fronts, but the backs of these cards are beautiful. I haven't edged them. They're so soft that I don't know that I could without somehow, I don't know, impacting or hemming in this really light pastel artwork. So these are just really, really beautiful. I love that the artwork and the keyword and the message all seem to have a really lovely harmony. I have to show you this. So this is fantastic. So the yes card, when you open up the guidebook, it's the first one. That's why I remember it. There's spreads in here. There's tons of good stuff in here. That's the guidebook entry for yes. And this makes me laugh. And I showed this to my sister. It made her laugh. It's, sometimes we just need to know, like, what's, it's yes. It's definitely yes. So that's pretty fantastic. I really, really, really enjoy using this, obviously, beside either my Moonchild or my Star Child. It's just gorgeous. I think that if you were newer to Danielle Noel's artwork, this would be a fantastic way to introduce yourself to it. I think the usefulness of keywords with her artwork makes a really fantastic combination and makes this really easy and fun to work with. So I love it. All right, guys, so that is it for this part of my Oracle deck collection. Make sure you stay tuned so that you can watch the next one, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Bye now.